Hello! This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members on YouTube. Minasan, arigato gozaimasu. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily good life meditation, an exercise that I do each and every morning, a little bit after waking up. It's a lot after waking up right now. It's 5:17 a.m. I actually slept in almost half an hour. Wow. I hit the alarm, turned it off, and I usually pass out again for another minute, and then I'm wide awake. But this time it was a whole half hour. But it's a holiday. It's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, everybody. The 25th of December, 2023, to be exact. I do this video to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can get a copy of from the link down in the description. I recommend the hardbound edition. It lasts. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with various challenges and opportunities, how I engaged my objectives and principles to life as it was being experienced, or seemingly engaged them, right? On the question of free will. That's another topic. I use the time to think about the coming day, plan for the day, which I already have outlined on my notepad, and then I prepare myself to die. Very important part of the process is to get ready to die, because it could happen any moment. And then I start my day in earnest. But before I do any of that, I like to read a poem. So we're going to read a second shot at Edward Thomas's poem, Home. I read it once yesterday. I couldn't say I could understand it. I haven't read it since then, but let's try it again and see if we can piece out anything more. It's a mid-length poem for Thomas. Home. Not the end, and there's a colon there, so a nice pause. Not the end, but there's nothing more. Sweet summer and winter rude, I have loved, and friendship and love, the crowd and solitude. Let's take a look at that stanza. Not the end, but there's nothing more. Oh, maybe not the end of life. Ooh, that's a slap across the face. Not the end, but there's nothing more. Sweet summer and winter rude, I have loved, and friendship and love, the crowd and solitude. Oh my gosh, that's heavy. I've worried about that myself, and I've seen other people in that circumstance. In fact, Bob just down the way seems to be in that circumstance, he and his wife. Their life isn't over, but there seems to be nothing more. But I know, next stanza, but I know them, colon, but I know them, I weary not, semicolon. But all that they mean I know. I would go back again home now, yet how should I go? Okay, let's try that again. But I know them, I weary not. But all that they mean I know. I would go back home again now, yet how should I go? But I know them, I weary not. But I know them, I weary not. But all that they mean I know. I would go back home again now, yet. That's a tricky thing about he does this. He weaves the now to the next line. There, right there. It's hard to read, or at least to get the flow. He doesn't really have a cadence like so many other poets. It's like threading our way through, shopping carts all piled together. You're weaving your way through his poem. Yet it's worth the struggle. Let's start that from the top again. Home. Not the end, but there's nothing more. Sweet summer and winter rude I have loved, and friendship and love, the crowd and solitude. But I know them, I weary not. But all that they mean I know. I would go back again home now, yet how should I go? This is my grief, that land, my home, I have never seen. No traveler tells of it, however far he has been. And could I discover it, I fear my happiness there, or my pain, might be dreams of return. Wow, here to these things that were. Wow, very poignant, especially for me right now, going back to Japan. I think I've disabused myself of any illusion that happiness is waiting for me there. And I've done this. This will be my 5th time to make that crossing. I know better than that. Life is just as challenging anywhere else. Although it's like closing the chapter on the book on one chapter, moving on to the next chapter, right? The issues of that chapter might be past, the maturity gained, and the readiness for the next chapter begun. So there's that. But that's what he's talking about here. I fear my happiness there or my pain might be dreams of return here to these things that were, or in the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I dreamed of the palaces of Vienna and the courts of Rome, something to that effect. And when I arrived across the ocean, there before me was my giant, as always. I'm totally paraphrasing, but Emerson speaks to that in Self-Reliance about wishing the folly of the traveler, thinking that happiness and peace will be found someplace else, that his giant was there still. And he's warning the same thing here. Although in this case, it's not a warning recorded from experience necessarily, but from it's not like Emerson who said, I've experienced that, here's what I'm telling you about the experience. This is one of, oh my gosh, maybe I'll discover if I go back home that it wasn't what I thought it was anyway. It says, I fear my happiness there or my pain might be dreams of return here to these things that were. Remembering ills, though slight, yet this is that hard word I had yesterday, irremediable. I'm going to struggle with this word. It's going to be tough to get this poem out in one shot. Remediable. I can say remediate, but I've never been caused to say irremediable. Is that even a word? Remembering ills, though slight, yet irremediable. So if he's never been able to remediate the ills, they should still be there, waiting for him. Beings brings a worse and impure pang than remembering what was well. Remembering ills, though slight, yet irremediable, brings a worse and impure pang than remembering what was well. Now, I cannot go back, and would not if I could, until blindness come. I must wait and blink at what is not good. Wow, this is a good poem. I'm going to take another shot at it tomorrow to try to read it all the way through. So yeah, no, I won't try to go home unless I'm blind and can't see. Until then, I'll blink here in the imperfection of the place that I am now. Now, just imagine that, he was, whoops. He died a young man, relatively speaking, in his 40s. It's interesting, he was having those thoughts or expressing those thoughts at such a young age. Could this have been the war? Could he have written that one? Could this be a war poem? Could he have written that on the front in World War I before he died? He died in the war. Talking about home to go back to after the war, maybe. All right, let's carry on. Last night and yesterday. Slept really good last night. In fact, a bonus half hour, and I went to bed really early too. I was in bed like by 8 o'clock or something like that. I slept until 4:30. Long and good night's sleep. Good day yesterday. How did I do with all my stuff? Let's take a look at the list. There's everything I needed to do yesterday. And they all have scratches of it except for this one right here and this one right here. What's that one? Oh, photos. I was gonna try to sort through some of our old photos and organize them in such a way that they can be shipped more easily to Japan. And the book is to write. This book is for Juliana, and I need to illustrate it to send it to her. I didn't get to dance. Oh, no, I did that. There it is, one with the star, and I still didn't do it. Sorry, Juliana. I got today's list ready, and it's there too, with another star. It was a good day. Oh, I had an interesting incident with free will yesterday. Coming home from lunch, Yumiko and I parked in the wrong parking spot. We parked in our neighbor's spot. A young couple with a small baby. Um, it's such an old man thing to do, and Yumiko didn't notice either. And it wasn't until about 3 or 4 hours later that I went on a dog walk, and I looked over and I realized, oh my God, we're parked in our neighbor's spot. I raced in, moved the car to the appropriate place, raced over to their house to apologize, but they were out. We did the dog walk. I came back and grabbed a bottle of wine and ran over to their apartment and knocked on the door and apologized profusely. Gave them a bottle of wine in apology. And they were very kind. They're a nice couple. They're both game designers and they work from home. I see them all the time. They're walking back and forth with their little daughter. They take the daughter to the morning to catch her little bus in the morning and then pick her up in the afternoon. Anyway, they didn't need the hassle. They had to park outside the facility in the walk-in, poor things. So that was a real shame. I really felt bad about that. But the experience I had, the relevant point here was, as soon as I realized what I had done and I moved the car, I felt so bad because I had seen them while I was parked in their spot. I had seen them traipsing back and forth. So clearly they had come back and found our car sitting there. I don't think they put two and two together and figured out it was me because they walked right past the window. They could have, I interact with my neighbors all the time through the window here. They could have said, hey, you're parked in our spot, but they didn't. Anyway, I did everything exactly as I would under any prior circumstance before I lost or became, it's like a superpower now, before I gained the ability to disengage myself from the believing in free will. It's something that I can do now at will, so to speak. That's funny. It says, okay, stop thinking of free will. Stop believing in free will. And then the whole aspect, the whole character, the landscape, everything changes. What changes is that I feel disengaged from it in terms of the consequence and the responsibility. But that doesn't mean I don't take action. The rest of me is still on autopilot for whatever values have been cultivated in my life in these 59 years, and I do everything exactly the same. I still raced inside, as I saw my car there. I said, oh my gosh, immediately free will switched off. The belief in free will switched off. I wasn't feeling the responsibility of it, but I still raced in, grabbed my shoes, raced out, moved the car, did everything like that, and was thinking about it while I was walking, but not much, and then got back and did the whole bottle of wine, everything like that. But I did everything I needed to do, but without the churning knot of the pain of guilt and responsibility, because I have none. I'm no more responsible for that than a sunset is responsible for the darkness that follows. It's the way the universe is unfolding. So that was interesting. It's an interesting change in life. And I couldn't will it, so to speak. There it is again. It just came about on its own through enough consideration on the subject. And I didn't have a choice in that either, it seems. All right. The good life. Today I'm going to linger on the recognizing true limits and true opportunity. My 8 objectives are, and I'll linger on that one. Number 1, to be always ready to die. 2, to make good and effective use of time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions. 6, here's the one, to recognize true limits and true opportunity. With this objective, I want to ascertain whatever is before me, whatever branches of life are happening, seeming to happen, even though I know that my will really doesn't seem to be involved anymore. At least my recognition of that is in place, and then ascertaining which of them is the right route to go relative to the values that I hold. What are the pros and cons? What are the assumptions in place? And then making a decision that's in accord with the pursuit of virtue. The funny thing is, though, that's not really a matter of me making those active efforts, it seems. It's more of a matter of like water finding its way down the course of least resistance, where the least resistance is the set of values that I have that channel my actions and my seeming decision making in that very direction. So I guess the recognition of true limits and true opportunities is a resultant consequence of all of the effort to date to build the good life creed, for me at least. And then after that, it's autopilot. That explains how that was able to happen yesterday, that I was able to see my mistake in parking in the wrong spot. My body went into automatic, almost like an automatic autopilot to begin to remediate that. No, very little deliberation was necessary. Yet, I could disengage I could literally put the whole thing on autopilot and take my hands off the stick. Curious how that works. All right, I'll leave that there. Could have probably done a better job on this one, but I'm struggling a little bit to reconcile this against the new recognition that free will truly is an illusion. Next is to perform good actions. No, I already did that one. Oh yeah, to do one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and then to keep my balance. That's number 8. Let's see if I can do the 35 principles this time. I really fudged it up yesterday, didn't I? Here we go. The principle of war, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil. Purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, the pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be born. The feast of offal, distraction, agency in the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, the principle of fun, and being prepared. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Got them. Now, as for today, what am I going to do today? Reading down my list. First, I'll read a poem. Did that. Do the Good Life meditation. I'm doing that right now. Answer all of my comments on YouTube. Did that. Already scratched that one. Meta. Answered all my comments on Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. Did that. Answered all my email. Already done that. Next is to work on Juliana's book. Edit some assets. That's titles, descriptions, and tags for the Lyle's Brother content on the softypapa channel. Update my journal. What is that? Oh, read. Spend some time, give myself some time to read. Swim. And then work on the Japan solution for the dogs. That's my day. Am I ready for death? Are my affairs in order? Yes. Are my relationships sound? Yes. Is my life's work complete? Absolutely. Yeah. I can pass away at any moment now without a single backwards glance. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never